Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of WTF. I'm your host, Liberal Lena. Let's take a look at what's happening this week. President Trump continues to show his support for former White House Staff Secretary Rob Porter. This comes after both of Porter's ex-wives publicly accused him of domestic abuse. Porter resigned soon after, and of course, no White House scandal can happen without Trump adding his unwanted and frankly unnecessary 2 cents. First, he wished him well, which is just an outright strange thing to do to someone who just got accused of beating not one, but 2 of his former wives. Then he proceeded to remind reporters that Porter did say he was innocent, not once, but twice. He didn't mention anything about the women, but he did tweet that people's lives are being shattered and destroyed by a mere allegation, not mentioning the shattered and destroyed lives of the 2 women who were allegedly beaten by the man. Last Monday, Trump released his new budget plan, and there are a few things in it you should know about. Before I begin, you should know that the president's budget plan is more or less like a 5th grader writing down what they want to be when they grow up. Eager, hopeful, but overall unrealistic. Trump, however, has taken this to a whole new level. Number 1, the good old wall. Yep, haven't heard much of that one since the election, right? Me either, because we never thought it'd happen. But here it is in the budget, outlining $18 billion over the next 2 years to go into building that wall. Oh, and he also wants to increase Border Patrol and ICE by 25%. Number 2, standout money sucker. President Trump wants the Energy Department to pour money into coal, oil, and gas while cutting budgets on good things like the Land and Water Conservation Fund by 90% and the Environmental Protection Agency by over 30%. This is bad. Now ask yourself, do you like the environment? The land, the water? Well, these things protect those things. He also cuts the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy by 66%. I wonder if he knows the fossil fuels will run out eventually. I guess as long as it's not in his 4, hopefully 2 or 3 years in office, he doesn't care. Oh, and say hello to more offshore drilling. Number 3, the GOP sure didn't hide their distaste for poor Americans in this budget. Besides the budget planning on cutting the food stamp program by over 20%, it also cuts the Department of Housing and Urban Development budget by 14%. What does this all mean? Basically, that he wants farmers to provide blue apron type boxes to families instead of giving them food stamps, which in theory could work, but in practice could also be a huge train wreck. And these are people's lives we're messing with, so maybe not the best of ideas. Last but not least, he cut a federal housing subsidy program called Section 8 vouchers by $1 million, enough to affect 250,000 families. Oh, and say goodbye to Meals on Wheels too. And the final piece of info I'll give you is that this budget could add $7 trillion to the country's debt. Funny, because now that Trump is adding to the deficit, 59% of Republicans reported it as a top priority in 2018. But back when Obama was president in 2013, 81% of Republicans ranked it as a top priority. Oh, the irony. It seems like some individuals don't actually care about the deficit, but rather just didn't want a black president. So yeah, here's an overall look at the funding. And to be honest, that's all I can fit in this week's episode. Before I go, I'll leave you with some good news. The portraits of mom and dad were revealed this week. Don't they look glamorous? Ugh, the Obamas. Better days, better days. See you all next week.